arrested that day alongside the imam. It's true that they exercise their Fifth Amendment right, but that's because they have a Fifth Amendment right to await trial before talking to any attorneys from the opposing side. So why is the DOJ comfortable in closing this investigation before waiting to speak with these 4 people that were arrested? These are critical eye and ear witnesses. They were right next to the imam when he was killed. They're critical witnesses. I specifically asked Assistant U.S. Attorney General Tom Perez how he's comfortable closing out this investigation without speaking with the other ear witnesses, eyewitnesses that were present. He said his response was, their statements are not important because they were lying face down. That was his response to my question.
Jeff Krug, Associate Principal.
Lena, Omar, what are the family's next legal steps here? Can you talk about what you plan to do now?
Sure. CAIR Michigan has filed a series of lawsuits against the different government entities that were involved in the raids. These lawsuits were brought under the Freedom of Information Act, which allows the public to obtain certain records from the government. We have launched these lawsuits in an attempt to obtain as much evidence as possible. We're trying to figure out what actually happened that day. And based on that evidence, we will look at whether the family would be interested in filing a wrongful death action against the government. But that would be at a later time.
If I can also add a comment, we will be, as I stated previously, we will be compiling a report showing all of our all the problematic issues that we've seen in these reports, as well as having a legal analysis of the inconsistencies in all of the reports that we've gotten thus far. And we plan on turning that report over to the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, Congressman John Conyers, who actually requested this report from us about 2 nights ago. So you know, we're hopeful that if Attorney General Holder does not do the right thing and launch an investigation, especially into the usage of the confidential informants, the misusage, and the military-style raids that are being used in terms of non-terrorism and non-violent crime offenses, that we are hopeful that there can even be some congressional hearings in terms of this case and the broader issue.
I think it needs to be said about Congressman Conyers that the Justice Department did not even have the courtesy to notify the House Judiciary staff before they came to Detroit to meet with us. The very person and office that asked for them to do this job, their boss, was not initially notified.
The reports that have been put out, or this report, the AG's report, and what else are you looking at?
Oh, well, the Mike Cox's report from the Michigan Attorney General. We have this new review from the Department of Justice. We have the Dearborn Police report, and we have other information that's been obtained, such as the necropsy report that we have obtained. We've already noticed a number of inconsistencies thus far. Let me also say something in regards to the review, a difference between a review and a full-fledged civil rights investigation. Anytime federal law enforcement officers kill an American citizen, the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division by de facto launches a civil rights review. Then, based upon the review, they will make a determination if they will have a full-fledged civil rights investigation. We asked several times, and we already knew the answer, and in fact, the family got a letter which used the term review. We asked specifically, was this a review, or did this change from a review to a civil rights investigation, a thorough civil rights investigation using all the weight of the Department of Justice? And they danced around it, and that's because this was not a full-fledged civil rights investigation. This was a standard review.
Right.
That's very important, and I think you all should press them on that because they tried to dance around the issue with the attorneys as well as the advocates yesterday. What is the difference between your review and your investigation?
So did they ever give you an answer? They never gave you a yes or no specific answer of is this a review or is this an investigation?
Very dismissive is that, oh no, well, what we did was thorough, and you're playing semantics between the review and the investigation, but they're very different. They're very different. Any further questions before we, do you have any questions, Neeraj? A few people beat up on the free press, so we had to let you ask a question.
No, I think I'm okay.
You okay?
You know, they also brought up the fact that they reiterated very strongly that he did not care about the facts of the case leading up to it. His only purpose there was to see if the FBI was justified in killing this guy. That was his only purpose, he said. He said whether they were justified in having this 3-year investigation, I don't care. That's not my job to determine that. Nothing leading up to it was he concerned with. That's very, very disturbing.
He meaning Perez.
Perez. And what's the other guy?
Kowalski. One closing comment from Attorney Masri, and then we'll wrap this up. Go ahead, Lena. Go ahead.
The Dearborn report actually has in it that the FBI agents that were involved in the raid were briefed before they walked into the raid that if the imam shot at the dog, they were not allowed to use deadly force against this dog. I asked U.S. Assistant Attorney General Tom Perez regarding this question, and he didn't even know that they were briefed about this. He didn't even know. This is something that is obviously central to this case, to this question. There were a lot of facts that he was not aware of. He didn't know that the Royal Canadian Police were involved. He didn't know ICE was involved. He didn't know anybody else that was involved. He couldn't answer half of the questions that I asked him. He did not even know that the FBI was briefed not to use deadly force if he shot at the dog. And this is assuming that he even had a handgun, which they have not been able to prove.
Was it Michigan State Attorney General report? Okay. Go ahead. Close. Will the family make the last statement and we'll close out?
I mean, first they said he was a terrorist. This was all over. First they said he was a terrorist. They painted it all over, put his picture everywhere. Then they said, oh no, he's not a terrorist. Maybe just the reporter says it appears that there were some common thugs trying to make a buck. Then they said he didn't surrender. And then he did surrender, but we didn't see his hands. I'm trying to understand. I mean, I'm really, as a family, how are you going to tell me to believe you and you give me a report? And then you're going to give me all this information for, we had to shoot him 21 times because he didn't surrender. Oh, well, he did surrender. And then his jaws broke. Oh, well, he may have fell. He didn't fall. You told me that in your report that he got down on his ground and he had the handprint of the trailer on his head. How is his jaw broke? How's lacerations on his face? It don't make sense. That's all. It doesn't make sense. So how am I supposed to take what you've given me and you're governed, you're the government, and I'm supposed to feel safe and I'm supposed to look to you with answers. So I'm extremely disappointed and I'm losing a lot of trust, if you will, in us, in our system that we're supposed to use as protecting and serving us.
Okay, thank you very much.